Hello, everybody. This is Big Cheds, of course, from Twitter and Cheds Trading from YouTube. This will be for the daily education playlist. We're going to take a look at the concept of a two-level filter, where you have a diagonal trend line that is broken, where you wait for a horizontal break or a lower high break. And as you can see in the quoted tweet, the main purpose of any diagonal trend line is to alert you as to when to look for a horizontal break. Be careful structuring any trade based on a diagonal break alone. So as you see here, it can often be very tempting to jump in when the trend line that you've drawn has broken. But what can happen with that type of a trade thesis is you may end up just following that trend line all the way down. Every time it retests the trend line from above, now you're retesting a falling channel. Trends tend to continue, and you end up realizing later, hey, I should have waited for that horizontal break, right? So the purpose of any diagonal break is to tell you to get ready and to keep an eye for a horizontal break. So for example, with the Bitcoin chart recently, after the price began to break down around the 95K range, the price started to put in a series of lower highs, and this formed what is called a descending supply trend, a trend of more aggressive sellers. And at some point, that trend began to break. Rather than jumping in merely on the diagonal trend break, which could have, as we referenced in the other image, you could have been riding that all the way down. You wait for a lower high break. That's your second level filter. That gave you a very nice and clean entry here on Bitcoin, right around 88.5. You can use this essentially with any chart or any situation where you have a very clearly marked falling channel. Look for the price to bounce as well and to give you some structure to work with. So should the price reclaim the falling trend, choose a reasonable lower high and use that to structure your risk. That way you end up getting into a situation, like I said, where you follow it all the way down. Now you're frustrated because your trade idea has failed and you don't know when to bail, and it's really hard to sell and to admit you made a mistake. So set yourself up for success. Be more careful and wait for that two-level filter break. This is going to go into the daily education playlist. Of course, check me out on Bitcoin Live as well. And folks, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Big Cheds out.